Here we are again, getting bribed, getting a little fat from all the bribes and the ice cream from producer dude to answer your questions, and we don't actually dislike it.
Because I'm looking out for them. You might not be looking out for the viewers, but I'm always looking out for them.
I encourage questions. The only thing, like we said about the ask hole thing, if they saw a video on that, is it's difficult when people ask questions that require a novel response, right? So we're trying to answer somewhat simple.
Be specific.
Specific, yeah, there you go. There you go.
What are some examples of what not to ask? What color to use, right?
Like, what speed should I troll? Where are you at? What are you doing? What time of year? What baits?
Right, so be specific and we'll answer. Okay.
Sometimes the simple responses by producer dude are the deadly ones.
All right, Dave Scrow, a week ago, how high above mark fish do you want your bait?
Well, I'm gonna back up and that's a good question, but the thing is depending on where that fish, when you see that, what you have to understand is where you think that fish is marking isn't often where he's actually at, especially if you mark that fish on plane or if he's on the inside or the outside of the cone. So just because that depth line says that fish is at 20 feet, it doesn't really mean that that fish is at 20 feet. So generally speaking, unless I'm fishing bottom, I want to try to be as high above the fish as I can and then start to work down, not work down and come up, if that makes sense. So I won't give you an exact number. Spread your stuff around. If you watch a lot of our videos about how my philosophy on setting boards and things up is, I really like to spread my stuff out. I don't set everything at given depths.
All right. This is one I've never even paid attention to, but Kevin Conley wants to know about the line fasteners on your boards. Are they the ones that come with them because they look easier for you to release?
Yeah, God, no. Everything's modified. There's nothing, you can't hardly buy anything, Kevin. And I use several different things because you just got to play with it. Buy one clip, of this, one of this, and try them out. Because I use different things for braid that I do for mono. And then in the cold water season, if I'm using snap weights or on planer boards, I actually use a different set of clips for that too. And I realize that's not applicable to everybody, but when it gets cold out and I still got to go and fish, it's hard to get those off, or when it's raining. That extra tension, but like when you're going faster in the summertime, like we were today, you need that extra tension so it's not sliding down the line. So my advice is buy one of a bunch of different types and try them out, because I use a lot of different stuff.
So speaking of going fast in the summer, OE Jennings 50 wants to know at what temp and kind of when in the season do you start slowing down in the fall?
I think I've talked out of both sides of my mouth on this one, but I don't really pay attention to the temperature per se with that stuff. I really let the fish tell me what's going on. I've said it a million times, but doing the S turns or just trying things for short patches if you're not getting bit. And the reason I say that is I've caught fish in January when we haven't had ice, the water is 30-some degrees. Me and producer dude did it not that long ago, going 2 miles an hour, where in most cases I'm not getting bit if I'm going over 1 or 1.2. So sometimes making those adjustments as little as 0.2 of a mile an hour make all the difference. And it really depends on what you're pulling too, because certain baits like certain speed ranges. So pay attention to that as well. It may not be the speed as much as just the certain baits you have a speed preference.
All right, Daniel Bowles fishes in the Central Basin. He wants to know about doing afternoon trips versus doing morning trips. Is there a huge difference?
I mean, there can be. There's just bite windows all the time. I mean, generally speaking, I think if we're talking about summertime or really when it's warm out, most of the time it's a lot more pleasant, but also a better bite early and late. I primarily fish in the morning. I'm not one to leave super early, except for in the summertime, because that bite does drop off, considerably. But even with that said, I've had a lot of days where the bite in the summertime doesn't get really good till 9 or 10. Part of that could be I just didn't figure it out or get in the right location till then either, though. So sometimes we misinterpret those things.
NTW Trans Am.
Hell, it sounds like a car guy, not a fishing guy.
It does sound like a car guy. What prop do you use on your 622?
622? I've got two that I like that I would tell you to try. A 19 Rev 4 Mercury prop, stainless, and then a Bravo 1 19 pitch. And I know guys are running, that's a 21 Bravo 1. And I know some guys are up or down. I've heard some guys run on a 21 Rev 4 too. But it really depends on how you're driving your boat and the weight load that you have, and do you have a jack plate, and the angle of the dangle and stuff like that, because when you go up and down an inch in engine mount height, it actually changes your pitch of running by 2. So there's a few things on Mercury's prop selector thing that you can look at that'll help you kind of figure that out a little bit.
Okay. And then lastly, this is a question that I remember up here a while ago, and I just remembered it. So, and I don't remember who it's from, so I apologize.
Anonymous.
It's not from Anonymous. It was in your thing, but a while ago. What are some good weather sites that you like to use for your?
There are none. They all suck. I mean, seriously, they all suck. I mean, you look at one and it says north at 10, another one says south at 10, and then I go out there and it's west. I would tell you just get a couple different apps that you're comfortable using and kind of use a cross-reference on them. There's some buoy information. The state of Ohio, assuming you're on Lake Erie or wherever you may be, the different states have some resources like that with buoy information. But all the guys I use different ones. I've got 4 or 5 on my phone, and I almost think you can really just look at one and make the weather whatever you want, but there's no substitute for showing up. And producer dude, I know you can vouch for that, because even just today they were not accurate.
It was not, no.
So thanks for taking some time to ask us some questions. Ask some specific questions. We can give you a lot better answers. Those generalized things, you got to realize I don't know what exactly your situation is, and so it probably won't be as beneficial. But producer dude is going to continue to bribe me to do these. So ask away. Follow along on our social media channels: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, bigwaterfishing.com.